happy Saturday and thank you for being with us this morning. You're watching Ireland AM. We're beaming into your homes from the picturesque Ballymount.
It's like being on a holiday.
Yeah.
Coming up, an action-packed weekend of GA. I read this and I'm trying to convince people I know what I'm saying. We have the first of the All-Ireland semi-finals to look forward to. Who's playing? Lisa Cannon's clapping. Who's playing? I have no idea. We'll be going through all of today's sporting action shortly. Well, not us directly, but someone will be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Someone that knows better.
Yes.
If you're looking for holiday ideas to bring your four-legged friends along, we'll be going through some of our picks later on this hour.
And this year he's been to both the BAFTAs and the Oscars, and he's not stopping yet. Oh no, Cork actor Michael Patric joins us later to chat about a very exciting stage play. It sounds very fancy when you say stage. Very chic.
Prestige.
Yes.
Now, tell me this, is it a human or is it a robot? Well, online dating is becoming harder due to the use of AI on profiles. We'll be finding out how to identify an actual human when chatting online. You know, that would be nice.
We don't have to face that in our lives.
No.
At the moment. But things could change.
Delivered.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. And will she be in the mood for dancing? Singer Nolan will be dropping by after 11 to chat about her new book. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, and plus we'll be finding out about the dangers associated with UV light exposure and asking how we best protect ourselves.
That's very important. Now, we are not alone today. Lisa Cannon is on the catwalk. Good morning, Lisa. What have you got coming up for us this morning? Let's talk fashion.
Well, let's talk fashion. I laughed when you said, oh, who's doing sport? It is me. Match for your life after that.
Good luck, Lisa.
Anyway, it's all about fashion now, and we're looking after our men in our life. Andrew, good morning. What are you covering for us today?
It's men's summer holiday style. So I've got 3 models, 4 looks, all different price points, different budgets. Summer wedding, airport chic, festival style. So loads of looks. So it should be to cater to every Irish guy.
Oh, wonderful. As always, you always deliver. Can't wait for that. Right, back to you guys.
Well, you know, the men need their time to shine.
Well, can I just say airport chic?
Airport chic.
If I'm up early, they're lucky if I brush my teeth. That's the truth.
I'd love a bit of airport chic in my life.
Nice.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Now, let's see what the world is looking like as you wake up. Anne O'Donnell is in the Virgin Media News Hub.
Thank you, Katia. Good morning. Well, a woman has died following an incident at a house in Cork City. Emergency services were called to the scene at Cardinal Court in Wilton last night. Gardaí have launched an investigation and a man in his 40s has since been arrested and detained for questioning. A heatwave is sweeping across parts of southern Europe this weekend, and it's feared that more record-breaking temperatures are on the way. Here's more.
The mercury has already been rising across Europe this week and is set to go even higher in many parts of the continent in the coming days. Extreme heat is being felt in many places, with temperatures set to hit 48 degrees Celsius in Italy in the coming days. In Greece, a heatwave is affecting the busy tourist season, with temperatures expected to reach up to 44 degrees Celsius in some parts of the country. Access to forests and wildlife parks has been banned there to reduce the risk of wildfires. Spain, France, Germany and Poland are also seeing extreme heat. While the intense temperatures have eased off in Spain this week, they're due to rise again in the first few days next week, with temperatures due to hit the mid-40s in some areas. Much of the week's temperatures across the continent are breaking previously held records, with fears more records will still be broken this summer. Marie Mulcahy, Virgin Media News.
Well, tens of millions of Americans are also dealing with the extreme heat over the coming days as a dangerous heatwave is sweeping across the US. Well, as the heat intensifies in parts of the west and south, weather records there are also being broken almost daily. Forecasters are saying that the hottest place on Earth this weekend will possibly be in Death Valley in California, where temperatures could reach as high as 54 degrees Celsius. Well, residents are preparing for the hottest day of the year, but the city's homeless population is struggling.
As far as the homeless in the city, it's pretty tough. I know many of the unhoused residents here in the city are struggling. They're struggling daily with just trying to find a place to where there is enough shade.
How we deal with the heat out here is we cool off with water, and we go to a shelter, and we also just get into some shade, and that's what I'm doing now.
Staying in the US now, and much of Hollywood's entertainment production is closed for business after the Actors Union joined TV and film writers in a historic strike. Well, they're demanding fair pay and protection from the growing use of artificial intelligence, among other things. And the strike is likely to affect promotional events for finished films and could also cause problems for upcoming productions.
I'm a writer, I'm in the Writers Guild, and I think that there's always strength in numbers. And now that we're on the lines with them as a whole nother union, I said, one of the last things that I said in that negotiating room across the table was, so now you couldn't make a deal with two unions. Congratulations, right?
That is right.
Elsewhere, a Long Island architect has been charged with murder in the deaths of 3 of 11 victims in a long, unsolved string of killings known as the Gilgo Beach murders. Well, it comes after detectives pursuing a new lead say they matched DNA from a pizza that the man ate to genetic material found on the women's remains.
These young women went missing between July of 2007 and September of 2010. They were found in December of 2010 by the Suffolk County Police Department, and then there was nothing, absolutely nothing. For the next 13 years, their cases went unsolved until today.
And it's time now for a check on the weather that you're waking up to.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
This afternoon will be increasingly windy with widespread showers or longer spells of rain with thunderstorms possible and highs of 15 to 18 degrees. This evening we'll see strong and gusty winds with further widespread rain and heavy showers possible with highs of 14 to 16 degrees. And tonight will be wet and windy with widespread showers right across the country and lows of 13 to 14 degrees.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
Now let's check on your morning paper, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline reads, Backhurst to contact Tubridy for RTE talks. The paper reports that RTE Director General Kevin Backhurst has said he will contact Ryan Tubridy within the next week to arrange several long conversations with the presenter about his future with the national broadcaster.
Tubridy to be cleared over €120,000 bonus as error was made by RTE. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. The paper details how Ryan Tubridy is expected to be cleared of any wrongdoing in a critical report on the understatement of the presenter's salary from 2017 to 2019.
The Examiner leads with Balkan gang linked to cocaine haul. The paper reports Gardaí believe that a major Balkan drug gang is behind the seizure of almost 163 kilograms of cocaine in Rossler Port in Wexford this week.
On to the tabloids now, and the Daily Mail leads with, I will talk to Ryan, but not to Noel Kelly. The paper reports that RTE's new Director General wants to speak to Ryan Tubridy alone about his future at the broadcaster and insisted he won't be speaking to the presenter's agent.
Foul-mouthed. That's the headline of the Mirror, the paper reporting that the Irish Women's World Cup preparations were thrown into chaos yesterday after their friendly was abandoned following a vicious attack on a star player.
The Sun leads with back on an even playing keel. The paper detailing that the new Late Late Show host, Patric, was unfazed when all hell broke loose at RTE, and his boss, Kevin Backhurst, says the comic can't wait to start.
Bear Grylls, that's the front page of The Star. The paper goes on to say an Irishman was camping in the Canadian wilderness and he told how he tried to scare off a black bear by playing the tin whistle before knocking himself out with bear spray.
Finally, the Herald leads with nay bother for Gardaí. The story details Gardaí have been interviewing 2 Bulgarian nationals over one of the biggest drug seizures this year with the help of translators.
Right, guys. Well, it has been revealed that Taylor Swift fans in Ireland will be forking out between 86, right, and €743 for her Dublin gigs after ticket prices were revealed yesterday.
Gosh, the US superstar is coming to the Aviva Stadium for 3 shows, with tickets expected to be like gold dust.
You don't mind the 86, but then it jumps to nearly €800. So this morning, we would like to know, are you guys at home hoping to see Taylor? And would you pay good money to see someone, no matter what the cost? So,
Yeah.
Lisa, you, who and how much?
I love the Rolling Stones. Anyone that knows me, I love The Who. I love all the 60s kind of classics. So I'd say the Stones. I contemplated seeing them in Hyde Park recently, and I was like, I'd go about $1,000.
Would you?
Yeah,
Would just for a regular ticket?
I love Mick and Keith and Ronnie, and I would do anything for them. I've seen them 13 times. Now, I've seen Bob Dylan a lot, but I wouldn't pay him. He never comes out behind his keyboard. But yes, definitely the boys.
You know what you're in for. You know what you're going to get. And they're actually up here for one of the most expensive tickets ever sold. The Rolling Stones 50s and Counting Tour sold for $1,129 per ticket. So
I didn't do it. I did the standing in the end.
Listen
but
to
I mean,
this.
yeah.
Justin Bieber's Justice World Tour, $1,500 per ticket.
Now, I
Justin
remember
Bieber.
that time, it was like gold dust. His movie had just come out. I had friends that were getting their dads to call somebody that knew somebody. It was crazy. Now, for me, I think Beyonce, but the most I've ever paid...
You went to see her recently?
I went to see her 3 times.
Okay.
But the most I've ever paid was...
That's her messaging you now.
That's Beyonce calling me now on my phone. She's got my number. I think it was like around 400, but I know friends that paid $2,000.
Well, listen to this.
$2,000?
Yeah,
you know the band BTS, their Love Yourself World Tour?
Oh, the Korean
yes.
band?
Okay. The tickets were $3,850 per ticket.
No, I wouldn't. Listen, there's so many people I wouldn't even cross the road to see. Honestly, even if you gave me the ticket for free, I'd be like,
unless it's the Rolling Stones.
Unless it's the Rolling Stones.
Now,
Nice to have your one. What's your one,
Well,
Brian?
Kylie is coming to Vegas, apparently. There's also news about Kylie coming to Vegas. I think Vegas to Kylie, I'd pay no more than $500-600 to see her,
Then you make a trip out of it.
Make a big holiday out of it.
If she has a residency.
Yes.
But, you know, with this Taylor Swift thing going on, I know all about it. My sister got every member of our family, including her extended family, to all sign up to this email pre-sale. So I hope whoever's out there looking for a T-Swift ticket, I hope you get it.
I hope you get it, absolutely.
Now, I know you guys are going to laugh because I haven't done sport ever in my whole career, but coming up, I will be chatting this weekend's biggest sporting events, so don't go anywhere.
You have
Wait
this,
for
Lisa.
it.
You
I've got
have
this. You're very welcome back this morning. Now, there has been drama down under with the women's Irish football squad, and the under-20s saw their Rugby World Cup dreams slip away. Off the balls, Mick McCarthy and Daniel Hussey from the Tackling Sports podcast are here to go through today's sporting action. Sorry, I'm actually leading the charge here. They will be. But first, let's have a quick look at the back pages, beginning with the Irish Daily Star. Well, they go with, yes, we can. Bundesliga giants Bayern Munich are confident they can seal the deal for Tottenham star Harry Kane. And finally, the back of the Irish Daily Mail says Denise doubt. Denise O'Sullivan is a major doubt for Ireland's World Cup opener against Australia after the midfielder was taken to hospital for an injury she picked up in a behind-the-closed-doors friendly against Colombia yesterday. Well, good morning, guys. I'm sure you're very aware. I'm going to just do an anchorman on it. This is my first time doing sport in 20 years in television. Please let us know, of course, about the Women's World Cup and how it went.
So this was an incredibly strange episode yesterday. So Ireland started their World Cup campaign against Australia on Thursday. They're over in Australia for the tournament, and they had what was kind of a warm-up game against Colombia yesterday. It's basically 2 teams in the tournament. It's behind closed doors. There's no fans. There's no media. It's a training game, basically. And Colombia came into it seemingly with intent, dangerous intent. And, I mean, there was 2 yellow cards given to 2 of their girls in the first 20 minutes, which is unheard of in a training game. There's no point in giving yellow cards. It's not a real competition. But that's how dangerous it was. And then next thing, Denise O'Sullivan, who's, if not Ireland's most important player, and very, very close to it, gets a really bad tackle on her shin. And Vera Pauw, the manager, decides enough is enough and takes them off after 20 minutes. So they never finished the game. Denise O'Sullivan was taken to hospital. Said there in the papers that it's, you know, she's a doubt for her first game. I think everybody's waking up this morning really glad that she's not out of the World Cup because she went for a scan. There's no fracture and there's no break.
What's the injury prognosis on it?
A bruised shin.
Bruised, yeah. It's bruised sort of bone in the shin, and I've actually had a bruised bone before, and it took me a few weeks to get over it now. So when Evan Ferguson got injured, I was telling everybody that bruised bone, he's out for the season, basically. And he was back in a couple of weeks. So I think it depends how you manage it. These professional athletes should get the best of care. But on mixed point, I'd have Denise O'Sullivan right up there with Katie McCabe as our most important player, probably our best player.
So she's going to be a huge loss then.
Yeah, but even on a world stage, she'd be right up there in like a world, like the elite World Cup squad in the whole tournament. So for us, like, we can't afford to have any injuries like that. And again, Mick touched on behind the closed doors, friendly, the nature of it. The Colombians seemed to sort of relish in that. There wasn't any media allowed.
No.
And that was actually a Colombian FA decision. And they initially said they were allowed. So apparently a lot of the Irish media were outside the stadium.
They were outside, not inside. Yeah, they weren't allowed in.
But they were refused entry to the stadium. So I don't know if there was any sort of intentions.
Colombia. Do we know why?
I've no idea, to be honest. Colombia have another game against America, I think, or Canada in a couple of days before the tournament gets underway. So I don't know if that's going to go ahead or not. But on an Irish point of view, hopefully Denise is okay for the first game. If not, she should be okay for the rest.
We're thinking of her this time. Now let's move on to Rugby Ireland. Under-20s went off with a flyer. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, like, it was a kind of an unfortunate night, really. So, like, Ireland made the World Cup final, which was a really, really big deal, only the second time in history. But they came up last night, Daniel, against like a French team that were just insane. They've won the last two. Ireland had beaten them in the Six Nations, so we were hopeful. Ireland won the Grand Slam in the Six Nations, but it was just a juggernaut. The French were too big, too fast, too powerful, ended up putting 50 points in Ireland. Ireland started really well. You know, they were good in the first half. We thought they were in the game, but it was just too much and too relentless, and it was a pity in the end. I think Ireland will take a lot out of the tournament, making a final. A lot of good players putting themselves, you know, in the public consciousness as ahead of their, hopefully, professional careers. But last night was just a bridge too far, wasn't it?
Yeah, the team sort of like, they'd be disappointed with the final. They all said it after. Gus said it, and a few of the players said after. They were probably a bit disappointed with their performance overall. But the Irish public have taken this team to heart, particularly given all the tragedies around the team over the last few weeks. So for them, it's just been an absolute, like, to get to the second ever Junior World Cup final for an Irish team. I mentioned they'd be a bit disappointed. Mick touched on we beat France in the Six Nations, but this was a different French team. They seem to pull players out of nowhere, and I don't think it's any disgrace to lose to this French team. We've exceeded expectations there, and look, fingers crossed, a lot of those players will get onto a senior team over the next few years.
Yeah, do you think they will?
Yeah, I think so. Look, we always say this with Gaz as well, like minors, you say, well, you have to be careful because, like, a lot of these players, the realistic and the numbers say they'll stop playing rugby in a couple of years. So that's a big project on the IRFU to try and keep these players in, even if they're not good enough for Leinster, to get them involved in the club rugby scene, and if not, try and get them playing rugby in some capacity. But I think it was pride for the whole tournament. And look, the final didn't go to plan, but that win over South Africa was sensational in the semi-final, and a lot of memories. And look, I'd say this team will, whatever teams stick together for the next under-20s tournament, that'll be team to watch for sure.
Let's move on to GAA, guys. The All-Ireland semi-finals in Monaghan. Fill us in on that.
I think the big question with this Monaghan-Dublin game tonight is just like whether Monaghan have a chance or not. I mean, I was talking on our show last night about, like, in a way, Monaghan have been almost disrespected. That they're being treated, I think, in a lot of the previews as a team who've come from nowhere, and they, you know, that as if they've gotten this miraculous run to the semi-final, and now they're up against Dublin and it's all over. That's not the case with Monaghan at all. They've been a very good team for a very long time. It's not their first semi-final. They've been a Division 1 team for a long time. But
it's not going to bridge a gap, really, then.
It's not as big a gap, I think, as it's been portrayed.
Okay.
At the same time, though, I think they will give Dublin a real game, but it's just really hard to see past a team as good as Dublin, a team as accomplished as Dublin, and a team, most importantly, I think, with the strength and depth that they have. So there's people who won't know much about GAA who have heard of the names that are on the Dublin bench today, which is Jack McCaffrey, Dean Rock, Kieran Kilkenny, and there's more even. Like,
well, on that, so before the quarterfinals, I remember saying to someone, Mayo have the best bench in the All-Ireland Championships with Killian O'Connor there.
I'm half Mayo.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
And then the Dublin made 5 changes, and I looked at Dublin's bench, and I go, this is the best bench I've ever seen in my life. So I think Desi Farrell, along with Pat Gilroy, has to be said, who's come in this year, has gone, we need to sort of get back to the Dublin. The Dubs used to always have the best bench. They lost that in the post Jim Gavin era. So that's what would frighten me, that even if Monaghan are in the game, to have that Dublin bench to come on. Now, on the other hand, Conor McManus is likely to be starting from the bench. There's talk he might come in to start, but he'd be Monaghan's best player, probably best player of all time, if he's involved coming in the last 20 minutes and they're still in the game.
OK, we have to talk about the Tailteann Cup. 2 sleeping giants, so there's not much in it. Tell us more.
Yeah, so it's Meath and Down in the Tailteann Cup final. I think this is kind of what the Tailteann Cup was invented for. It's like a lower tier tournament for teams to kind of compete at their level. It's still only new. I think this is only the second final. So, but Meath and Down have both won All-Irelands in my lifetime. They played against each other in 1991 in the All-Ireland final. So there are two counties that would see themselves as potentially above this level, but this is what's brilliant about it. They both had Down were in the doldrums last year. Meath have been on a slippery slide for a long time now, and suddenly they're in this competition. They've got a bit of momentum. They've got into a final, and whoever wins today, I think it would be a really big deal, and I think it will. I'm not actually sure who's going to win. I'm tipping Down very, very slightly. I think they're on slightly better form, but whoever it does, I think it will really justify the existence of this competition, which I think has always been a little bit controversial. So that alone, I think, is
we have to wrap up just before we go. Tennis, my wheelhouse. Finally, Djokovic. He looks like a man on a mission. So, what's your thoughts?
It's ominous, all right, but we've got the dream final on the men's side of things: Alcaraz and Djokovic. So, for people who don't know, we've had the big 3/4 with Andy Murray in tennis for the last.
I've been watching the one I've been watching. Don't talk about this one.
Well, there's another player up and coming. He's the US Open champion, Alcaraz, and he's actually became #1. He won the warm-up tournament before Wimbledon. I think he's got a real chance here. I don't know. Me and Mick were kind of debating this off
there. What are you thinking? Are you having a fisticuffs about it?
Beating
Djokovic? No, not quite. But I do think he's got a great chance, and I think he has to prove it tomorrow. So until he does, I have to stick with Djokovic. Djokovic has gone for 5 in a row at Wimbledon. Only the third player to ever do it. He had a COVID year where it was off in between, so it's even more impressive. He's also gone for 8 Wimbledons, which is only Roger Federer has done on the men's side. So, I wouldn't be just writing him off just yet. He looks as impressive as ever. So I'm just I actually hope Alcaraz wins, but I'm heading
quick one from you before we wrap.
Yeah, I think Alcaraz, just 20 years of age, he'll go in with no fear, and I just think we're going to get a 5-set epic like the good old days of Federer and Nadal. And I think Djokovic will hang on for a few years to make sure he gets a few more Grand Slams off Alcaraz. But I think he's the real deal. So fingers crossed for him.
Guys, Mick, Dan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
My debut on sport. Probably never again. Thanks very much, guys. Coming up next, are you looking for somewhere to bring your 4-legged friends this summer? Well, we are talking. Thank you. We are talking pet-friendly holidays after this quick break. Thank you for your patience, guys.
You're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, we're preparing for all our summer holidays this year. I mean, you've probably already gone on a couple, but what about our 4-legged friends? They deserve some luxury too.
Absolutely. And with that in mind, travel journalist Megan Virgo is here with her picks of pet-friendly holiday destinations. Good morning, Megan. Megan is not alone. If we pan the camera out, we have Walter here as well. And what breed is he again, Megan? Remind me.
Walter is a basset hound, and he turned 12 3 weeks ago.
Oh, happy birthday, Walter.
Now, we look after his beauty regime so he doesn't look 12.
Oh, he's got very beautiful eyes.
Walter's a bit like me, he's a little bit vague.
He's high dowling, aren't you?
High maintenance. Megan, taking dogs on holidays comes with a lot of restrictions.
It does, yes.
But apparently not in the Aran Islands. It's all go there.
All go. I mean, the Aran Islands, I don't know if you've been, but
Never been before, no, but it's beautiful.
It's incredible. And you know what? It's Celtic heritage at its best. There's 3 islands. But to bring the pooches, I would say Inishmore is a great pick. You can go there by ferry from Galway or from Doolin. And actually, if you go with Doolin ferries, it's free. But when you get to Inishmore, the accommodation that I picked was Aran Islands camping and glamping.
There's a quick look at it there. Absolutely gorgeous.
Look, and they're the pods now that you stay in.
So now people can stay in luxury pods with their dogs. So you don't have to, you can go past the glamping. We're talking luxury pods now.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Like luxury. And now, if you wanted, you could BYOT, bring your own tent. You know?
To work, I know, bring your own bottle.
Bring your own BYOB
tent. So, okay.
Brian, I could imagine you now with the tent and the old bottle of rosé.
Maybe you're
But
right,
anyway,
Megan.
look, I think we're going to go with the luxury glamping on this occasion. So dog friendly. And the great thing about Aran Islands camping and glamping is it's right near Frenchman's Beach, which is a spectacular beach. And when you have dogs and you're picking somewhere to go, you want somewhere where they can walk, where there's long walks, there's roads where they can sniff, play, run around. Also, Inishmore is home to, actually, it's not a hidden gem anymore. It's the Wormhole Pool.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you ever see that?
I've been seeing a lot of that online.
Yeah. It looks like it's actually been built, but it's natural. It's this huge rectangular pool. Now I wouldn't be sending the dogs in there. I'd leash them. But for ourselves, it's a fabulous spot and it's really popular.
And tell me this, Megan. Can you fly over to the Aran Islands with your pupper?
You can. Yes, you can fly the Aran Islands. Air Aran Islands. So you can fly there from Connemara, and it's around 15 minutes flight time, and you can bring your dog with you. They can either sit on your lap. Obviously, Walter is not going to be able to sit on my lap.
He's too big.
Yeah, so he'd be on the ground. So then you just pay half a fare for the likes of Walter. But if your pooch can sit on your lap, then you're good to go, free ticket. And I just think it's such a cool experience. It's very quirky. Obviously, you can take the ferry if you want, but I have it in my head now that I want to bring him on
for that airport experience.
I could just imagine him, and imagine his ears as well. It'd be like Walt Air to the Aran Islands.
When Arthur and I lived in America, you would see people on board airplanes with their dogs all the time.
Really?
Like next to them, or
next
the pets
to them,
go away
or on the ground and stuff. Yes.
I've only ever seen that once on a commercial flight, and I was transfixed. I was like, I want to be friends with that dog.
Now, is this something you think about every summer? Like, would you ever get a bit worried about, can I travel with Walter everywhere? Like, do you plan your holidays around taking Walter with you?
Yeah, I do, because you know what? Not everywhere. So whenever you're booking a hotel and you hear that it's dog friendly, or an Airbnb, check the policy, check the pet policy. Because, for example, some places will allow you to roam around the hotel with the dog to your heart's content. Others are a bit more restricted. For example, you can't leave them in the room by themselves. One spot that got the paw of approval from Walter, he's been there twice, is Glasson Lake House.
Well, that brings me on to my next question. We talked about fabulous cabins, glamping.
Yeah.
You've travelled the country looking for the best, pet-friendly hotels and accommodations and locations. What is Walter's favourite one?
With undoubtedly Glasson Lake House.
Right.
He loves it there. Now, he's been there twice. Like, he's very lucky. I'm like, if you lived in Thailand or Sri Lanka, you would not be treated like this.
Well, we're looking at some pictures now this morning, and it looks beautiful. That doesn't look like Ireland.
It doesn't, especially on a beautiful day. And now, what are Walter's favourite things about it? What does he love about staying there?
What he loves most, I suppose, about Glasson House is the freedom.
Actually, that was Carton House.
That was Carton, yes, the Fairmont Carton House. So, for example, actually, the grounds there are spectacular. A great place to go walking with your dogs, and you can eat as well in the Carriage House restaurant with your dogs, which is great. And when you stay there, it's on the west wing of the hotel.
Glasnevin now. Look at that, beautiful.
Yes.
Wow. And you could be there getting your massage.
I was just thinking that. You mentioned Carton House in Kildare.
Yes.
Anywhere else in Kildare that's got good locations?
Clifford Lions.
Yes, I was only there recently.
Oh, it's like
beautiful.
Bridgerton, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like that set. It's fantastic. He had a ball there. He's the life of Riley. He should have been called Riley, to be honest. But yeah, fabulous. So the rooms there, I mean, they're very quaint, floral wallpaper, 4-poster beds. And the dogs, they have beds for them when you go in. They have the bowls. And they have a garden as well. So they have select dog-friendly rooms. So this is the thing, is when you rock up to a hotel, let them know in advance that you're bringing your dog.
Do some hotels, I was reading the notes, provide doggy packs?
They do.
And tell us what doggy packs are and what they consist of.
So they get a doggy treat. Walter usually takes way more than he should. So doggy treats, the bowl, the beds, and a lead. So actually, if you went to Aran Islands, now if you went to the Aran Islands camping and glamping, they have the leads and everything. At Clifford Lions, they had like a beautiful cake kind of display for them when we arrived. Yeah. And then in Glasson Lake House, they had a whole bed. They didn't even have a dog bed. They had a whole mattress.
Now, if we're also talking about a little bit outside Ireland, like, is this also possible? Like, would people take the ferry? Would they still fly?
Yeah. So you can go to France or Scotland with Stena Line. They have pet-friendly cabins. You can bring up to 2 pets on board with you. Now, again, check policies before you go. Because, for example, if you're departing, let's say, from Belfast as opposed to Dublin, you would need a pet passport. You don't need proof of vaccinations. But if you're going from Dublin, you do have to have vaccinations.
And that's quite important.
It's so important, because if you don't have those, you'll be turned away.
Do you hear the little noise he's making?
I know.
So
sometimes.
It's like, Mommy, give me attention.
I know. Would you like a treat?
Oh, always time for a treat.
Now, what would be your top tips for a long drive with Walter?
Probably treats.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of treats. I would bring definitely the water bowl, a bottle of water, to have a snug, comfy bed for him as well in the back. Obviously, you have to have the bags in case there's any accidents, which can happen. Thankfully, he didn't do anything here yet.
Do you know what I've noticed recently? That people need to be more vigilant when they're picking up the doggy mess. Not a lot of people do it. And now that I have a buggy and I'm pushing stuff, it can be a real nightmare out and about. And then you're bringing it back to the home. So I wish people were more vigilant, because you can get little scented bags. My friends have them.
Yeah, no, you can, So I would, I noticed that as well, to be honest, when I'm out. It's everywhere. Also, Brian, I don't know if you noticed this with the pram as well, but when people are out with their dogs, you have to remember not everyone loves dogs, and some people are afraid of dogs, so leash them. You know, you have to have them leashed. Like, I'm mad about dogs, but not everyone is. So just be mindful of that when you are doing a staycation in Ireland, or, you know, if you're heading abroad.
Bring the weed
exactly.
and the scented bag. Megan, thank you. And Walter, was a joy live on television. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Coming
guys.
up, it's all about the boys on the catwalk. Oh, yes, ladies, fashion is next. See you after this short break. Well done, Walter.
Good morning to you, and thanks for staying with us. Now, we're looking after the boys today. Yes, we are. And with the season only halfway through, there's still plenty of opportunity to showcase a summer wardrobe.
There's
just
always
about
time. Stylist Alexander Fitzgerald joins us now. Good morning, Alexander.
Good morning.
You always look so chic. I said to you earlier in makeup, I would like to wear the kind of baggy trousers. It just doesn't work on me.
They're comfy. I've semi-retired the skinny jeans. Thank you. I was in Asia and had them made.
Of course.
Of course you did. For a pittance.
That's why he's sitting there and we're sitting here. So we've 4 looks.
4 looks.
Let's kick off.
3 models, 4 looks. I'm kind of covering loads of different occasions and budgets. The first one, it's all from Marks and Spencer. I'm calling this kind of summer wedding chic, or you know,
I get that.
or just, you know, night in a posh restaurant. It's all from Marks and Spencer. The blazer it's actually part of a suit, if I'm honest. So you can team it up and go full-on suit. But to me, it's lovely as a blazer. It's €175. Loads of really nice details. It's got a peak-look collar. It's got AMF stitching, single-breasted, obviously 2-button. But it's a lovely kind of slim fit, so it's very, very flattering. Under it, I've gone for the kind of the pinstripe shirt. I forgot to mention it on the suit jacket. It's called Linen Miracle, so it's made of linen, but it won't crease. So you can chuck it in your case, hang it up, and it'll be good to go.
No steamer required.
No steamer required. Exactly.
And your hollyhoppers.
Back to the shirt. This is it's 2-fold cotton, so it's really, really soft on the skin. It'll age really well. It's a double button, and it's from Marks and Spencer's sartorial range, so it's a little bit kind of upmarket for them. It's €68, but again, this will take you anywhere.
Marks and Spencer's, they're just great.
They're
aren't
brilliant.
they?
They're
like,
brilliant.
it's just for women as well. So
I was
really
pulling the 2 looks and literally spoiled the choice. Go down to the chinos. These are €36, so really, really good. Good
price point.
But wallet friendly. They come in loads of colours. These are a slim fit, but again, you can go a bit looser, a bit wider, and they're just so versatile for summer. And the trainers. Actually, I worked out today. I'm not wearing. There's not one
trainer body here.
We're all in trainers.
Sorry, I've evil shoes on today.
Shoes have been retired. These are €85. They're from the Autograph collection. So again, that's kind of the upper end of the scale.
Yeah, a little higher price point wise.
But they've got a real leather upper, and they've also got it's called Fresh Feet Odor Technology. So if your feet stink like me, wear these, and you'll be smelling fragrant.
Really?
Smelling of roses.
Exactly.
So they actually smell okay.
But they smell good, yeah. Yeah, it masks the smell, or it minimises it. Right, this one I'm calling airport chic, or Irish summer, because of the jacket.
Can I just say, he is way too chic to be going to any airport.
Well, the thing with this is, it's all from Vida Nair, an Irish brand just down the road. They're family run, in business since 1965.
Oh, good.
So great heritage. It's all about the jacket here. It's a quilted jacket. They do it each season, but it's modified and it evolves. This season, it's got a new matte finish, which I think gives a much smarter look. It's high quality cotton. The great thing about it is it's pockets galore, inside, outside, for your travel documents, your passports, your boarding cards, your key tees, it's brilliant, and you can throw it on. And for Irish summer, it's perfect. Keeps you warm.
Irish summer?
And
Is that even a thing?
it's shower-proof, which is great for here.
Exactly.
Under it, the shirt I am loving. Niels might just show it off.
Oh.
It's like a gingham shirt.
Gingham, that's
really, it's a soft peach finish. This comes in assorted colours, and you can get it without the button-down collar or short sleeves, but it's $69.95. Again, this is a real hero piece for summer. Roll up the sleeves for a barbecue, go, drinks with your pals on the town. It'll take you anywhere, and really, really good buy. The jeans, these are from Penny, so that they're kind of not part of the outfit as such, but the belt is Vitaneer. It's an elasticated braided belt. As you can see, we've gone very matchy on the colours. It's all about the blues, but that comes in loads of colours, and you can customise your fit depending on your size.
I really like belts on men, because I think people kind of underestimate them. They're real hero products.
Yeah, and
they can be a part of an outfit.
It can elevate your look. I'm not wearing one today, but
Either am I.
But so yeah, hands up. But it does. It can look great. If I have time to mention the socks, these are you might
I
just
like the socks.
It's a classic Argyle print. They're €15 soft cotton, and for that you actually get 2 pairs. And again, they come in loads of colours. So perfect actually gift. I know Christmas is a little bit far down the line, but just even for
it's not that
gift
far
or
away.
That's true.
September's next, then Halloween, then
less
Christmas.
Than 6 months. Exactly. Next one, completely different look. Cuba's coming in here. This is all from Pennies.
I like that.
I'm calling
That's
this
funky.
festival fashion. So if you're going to whatever festival you're going to, this is a great look. The whole thing is €72.
The whole thing?
Head
wow,
to toe.
that is so good.
The Guns N' Roses t-shirt's awesome.
He's even laughing himself, going, "How has this even happened?"
Well, I was asking the guys outside to guess how much the prices were, and they were all way over. So the shades, they're €2. They're lovely tortoise shell, and they've got.
Did you say 2?
Only €2.
€2, yeah.
Okay.
I know
wow.
you'd swear it's a typo, but it's not. Right, the rain jacket, Irish Summer Festival.
Yes,
you need a rain jacket. This is light-proof, it's breathable, and interestingly, it's made with recycled materials. So Pennies are kind of doing loads of kind of green credentials. €18, really, really good buy. Throw it in a jacket, throw it in your backpack or whatever. You might just take it off and show us the Guns N' Roses t-shirt.
I'm buying that. I don't even know how much it is, but I love
the
it.
t-shirt is €14, which is great. It's got that lovely lived-in, washed feel, huge big logo on it. Vintage, that's it. Listen, for my age, everything's vintage. Unfortunately.
Me too.
There's also Rolling Stones kind of branded merch, which looks great. But the Guns N' Roses, I love. It comes in loads of different brands. The jean shorts, these are €18. What's really great about these is, while they're denim, they've got stretch properties, and they're also made using sustainable cotton. So again, flying the green flag, which is great. These shorts come in loads of different washes and colours. They even come with, some of them have got like a drawstring or elasticated waistband. These are just standard jeans. But again, €18, can't go wrong.
They look great, and you would never know. They could be Levi's, it could be anything. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. The trainers,
Trainers are cool.
These are very kind of Air Jordan inspired, but at a fraction of the price. They're €20. They're kind of high tops. They also have them in white and navy, but the red kind of brings out the red and the Guns N' Roses logo, which I love. So again, as I say, that whole outfit, €72.
I've always wanted to try denim shorts. I've never worn denim shorts.
Have you not?
Because I'd want to kind of wear them a little shorter than that, and I just think age of
How short would you go?
Short.
Flash the thigh.
Oh, very
now,
chic here.
Colin's done a quick change in the phone box behind. This is smart casual. Again, it's back to Marks and Spencer. Start with the hat. The hat, brilliant summer staple, €38. M&S have got brilliant hats. They've got kind of paler ones, man from Del Monte
it's
style.
Lovely hat.
This I think is really trendy, and it's got a UPF, which is the ultraviolet protection factor, of 50+, which gives you protection, so any part of your skin is covered.
Even your hair.
Exactly. Or your hands, as we were talking earlier on camera.
Or the tips of your ears.
Which
they
is
get
a
really
huge
burnt.
point. Exactly. Now, the shirt, I love this. It's kind of
that's
quite
nice.
Brad Pitt-esque, very retro.
It is.
Hollywood's using loads of these.
Old Hollywood, kind of 1930s Art Deco, isn't it?
Completely.
Yeah.
€54. It's from the Autograph collection again, so you're talking really, really nice fabrics. This is Supima cotton, so to the touch, it's beautiful. The retro style, I love it.
That's really classy. You probably can't see it as much on television, but it looks beautiful
Yeah,
material.
and the colours in the flesh really, really pop nicely. Chinos again, and a summer staple, a real kind of hero product that you can't go wrong with. €65 from M&S. This is a lightweight chino, and what's interesting about this is it's got lycra properties. So, as you know, Lycra will kind of stretch with you. It also keeps shape retention. So if you've had a big sweaty outing, they'll pop back into shape. And they also have moisture wicking. So again, if you're in a warm environment or on holidays, it'll bring the sweat away from the body.
And quickly before we finish, those trainers.
Trainers, €85. Yeah, love these. They come in chocolate brown and a lighter brown, a kind of a mocha. They've got a stain-resistant finish, and again, like the previous M&S trainers, fresh feet technology to keep your toes smelling beautifully.
Like and I love the way you can wear a hat and still have good hair. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Andrew, that was really fascinating. I'm going to go for a sniff later on. Coming up, we'll be sitting down with the wonderful actor Michael Patric to talk Smother and on Cailín Ciúin.
Plus, we'll be asking how much influence is the world of AI having on dating? That seems odd. Stay with us. Remember, we're live on to 12 p.m. See you after the break.
I think they have...
Now, it's that time again. Let's check on your morning papers, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline reads, Backhurst to contact Tubridy for RT talks. The paper reports that RT Director General Kevin Backhurst has said he will contact Ryan Tubridy within the next week to arrange several long conversations with the presenter about his future with the national broadcaster.
Tubridy to be cleared over €120,000 bonus as error was made by RTE. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. The paper details how Ryan Tubridy is expected to be cleared of any wrongdoing in a critical report on the understatement of the presenter's salary from 2017 to 2019.
The Examiner leads with Balkan gang linked to cocaine haul. The paper reports Gardaí believe that a major Balkan drug gang is behind the seizure of almost 163 kilograms of cocaine in Rosslare Port in Wexford this week.
On to the tabloids now, and the Daily Mail leads with, I will talk to Ryan, but not to Noel Kelly. The paper reports that RTE's new Director General wants to speak to Ryan Tubridy alone about his future at the broadcaster and insisted he won't be speaking to the presenter's agent.
Foul-mouthed, that's the headline on the Mirror. The paper reporting that the Irish Women's World Cup preparations were thrown into chaos yesterday after their friendly was abandoned following a vicious attack on a star player.
The Sun leads with back on an even playing keel. The paper detailing that Late Late Show host Patrick Kielty was unfazed when all hell broke loose at RTE, and his boss Kevin Backhurst says the comic can't wait to start.
Bear Grylls, that's the front page of The Star. The paper goes on to say an Irishman camping in the Canadian wilderness told how he tried to scare off a black bear by playing the tin whistle before knocking himself out with bear spray.
Finally, the Herald leads with nae bother for Gardaí. The story details Gardaí have been interviewing two Bulgarian nationals over one of the biggest drug seizures this year with the help of translators.
I'm still reeling about the bear with the tin whistle.
It's taken all of my might not to giggle with the tin whistle, yes.
Sorry about that. Let's move on to text, because we've had loads of texts coming in. Obviously, we've been talking about, if you've missed it, just, the price of tickets, concert tickets, and some people are saying, listen, they wouldn't pay extortionate prices to see their favourite stars, but people are saying about Taylor Swift. We have Phil in who said, I got Taylor Swift tickets yesterday for the Dublin gig next year, and I paid £100 for the ticket, and I would not pay anywhere near €800. I don't think any Irish person would. Ticketmaster and Taylor's team are very much out of touch, and European and American audiences are very different.
Yes, I was saying to Brian how a lot of Americans come to Europe for the concerts because they're so much cheaper. You get your flights and the concert ticket for under an American.
And a holiday.
And a holiday.
A message here from Martin regarding the best concert we ever went to. His was Stereophonics.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what it cost him? A box of Jaffa cakes.
Stop it.
Too right,
His
Martin.
friend was sick and couldn't go, so they gave him the tickets and he gave the friend the Jaffa cakes instead.
I love a good barter deal, don't you? What's the best barter you've ever got, or can you think on your feet?
Glass of champagne for someone and they give me something.
I do,
say that all the time.
yeah, a bottle of champagne
I'll pay
for
you in
me.
champagne.
Now, Tina, this is a bit of me. I would give my life savings to see Beyonce. I've never seen her and seem to always miss out. I have a funny story for you. One of my friends, well, we're Beyonce friends, but she paid just over 20 grand
20 grand?
For what?
To travel around the country to see her every show. That's how obsessed some Beyonce
Okay,
fans are.
Beyonce needs to find this woman and do a meet and greet.
I think so too.
For that amount of money.
I wish we could petition for something like that. Anyway.
Anyway, I'm going to talk about what caught our eye this morning, and this caught my eye because I don't know Tinder. I've never been on it. I don't really know much about it, but actually, a lot of people are using Tinder now. Have you been on Tinder?
I met my partner on Tinder.
Did you?
6-year anniversary today, so shout out to
Happy
Dara.
anniversary!
Well, what they're saying now is that some of the execs in Tinder are saying that actually what people are doing, almost 2/3, they're actually just having a snoop, and it's for their self-esteem. So they're looking at people, if people like them back, whether they're married or whether they're in a relationship, they're like, oh, that person likes me.
Like an ego boost?
Like it's an ego boost, yeah. And they're kind of, when they like them, I don't know whether you swipe left or right or what you do, but at the end of the day, it's just like, oh, that person likes me. It's giving me a lift, like a kind of an endorphin boost.
I always think that's great, but then what if you're chatting with someone who really likes you and explain that endorphin boost to your partner? They may get a bit jelly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, 2/3 of the people are in relationships, but they do it exactly that, you know, even though they're not interested, just to see what's out there.
No harm in dipping your toe in the water, Lisa.
That's a break-upable offence, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. All right, let us know your thoughts this morning. Are you a Tinder user who doesn't actually necessarily want a date, but just having a little look about? Or what is your favourite street food? We'd love to hear from you.
Well, coming up, more food. Yes, we love food on this show. We've some buns in the oven over in the kitchen. See you right after the break.
There. Oh, that nearly threw me, Katia.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Good morning and a huge welcome back to the show. Now, the most underappreciated part of any burger is the bun. Sorry, unless you're Patric Ryan from Firehouse Bakery, of course. Sorry, Patric, I was shading you before introducing you.
Patric is here to show us how we can make our own tops and bottoms for any burger. So where do we start, Patric? Because I feel like, the buns don't get a lot of love.
Okay, sometimes bread gets a little bit bad rap. But the thing is, not all bread is the same. But we also want to show you how easy it is to make bread. Basically, we've been doing it since the beginning of time.
I stopped eating the buns on burgers when I was watching Top Model, and Tyra Banks says, indulge, have the burger, don't have the bun. So she's to blame for it, Patric.
Okay, well, I'm going to blame her. So.
Blame Tyra Banks.
But today he might change how you feel.
Let's go.
So basically what we're going to make today is we're going to make like a multi-grain burger bun. This dough works great as a loaf of bread, for bread rolls, for little burger buns. The idea was this lovely barbecue weather we're having, but it hasn't stopped raining for the last 3 days.
Sorry, Patric.
But it's got, so using 2 different types of flour, using some strong white flour and what's known as a granary flour. It's got little wheat and barley grains in it, so it's got a kind of lovely kind of malted, toasted flavour to it. But then to make it really nutritious then, we're going to add some oats and we're going to add some cooked rice. So lots of different grains. But basically, how we're going to start this off...
I'm surprised you're putting rice in bread.
Yeah, with different grains. So you can use some brown rice, you can use some pearl barley, just kind of add a little bit of nutrition in there as well. So what we're doing here is simply, I'm taking 200 grams of strong white flour. I'm adding 10 grams of fresh yeast, just crumbled straight in. If you're using dried yeast, just go for half, 5 grams. And then I'm adding 265 grams of water. But what I'm doing here is I'm making what we call a sponge. So unlike the sponge which you're used to from a cake. So basically, the secret to great bread is time. The more time you can give it, the more flavour it has, the better it is for you, the more nutrition it is, and the much easier it is for your body to digest. The big difference between the breads that we make and the mass-produced loaf, they want to speed everything up, we want to slow everything down. You take time out of bread making, hence you can't taste anything, hence you can't digest it.
Hence the bloating.
But the thing is, it's not just a case of giving bread loads of time. It's a balance between maximising, improving, not over-improving. So what we're doing here is making a little sponge. So it's a bit like a marinade, but for bread. So simple. Flour, water, yeast, that's it. Stir it together, give it at least 2 hours. Longer if you can, and it'll look like this.
Almost sets like jelly.
So it can really bubbly, really active. Basically, the yeast can get to work without the presence of salt, draw out all the flavour within the flour, and begin our little fermentation process.
And it's not too messy, which I like.
Which is lovely.
Really, really simple.
It's easy to work with.
So just dump it straight in. So this has probably had about 3 hours. And then to that then, as I say, we're going to add some lots of grain. So I got a little bit of cooked brown rice.
And has that been like, oh, it's cooked?
No, you won't cook
it. It's easier to break down.
It won't cook through the baking. We're using a little granary flour. Now, if you don't, thing is, granary is actually a trademark and Hovis own it.
Okay.
So you often might see in supermarkets malted flour, malted wheat, all kind of same thing. A little bit of wholemeal will work perfectly as well.
And it's healthier.
Yeah. So you're getting the full grain. You're getting the bran, the wheat germ, the full nutritional package.
Lots of grains going in there.
Yeah, so we want to kind of make it really nutritious.
Okay.
Salt is quite an essential ingredient, same as all food. We need to kind of season. And then with our oats, we're actually going to scald them, which basically means I'm taking 100 grams of oats and pouring on 150 grams of boiling water. Bit like porridge.
What does that do?
Basically, it draws out the starch that's within the grain. And as that starch, we would let this cool a little bit. That starch then is what's going to make this dough really, really soft. Again, really soft on the inside. So obviously we can set that aside, let that cool slightly. Now I'm just dumping it straight in. Now
really quality ingredients you're putting in there, to be fair. Like
really simple now, and we've just added a couple of extra because we've gone grain, but simply bread is flour, water, salt and yeast. That's all we need, 4 ingredients. No enzymes, no nasty additives, no improvers. The way bread should be. So then...
The way bread should be. A little bit of shade, but I liked it.
So then, obviously now I'm using a mixer just to make my life easy. So when you knead your dough, it'll take about 5 to 6 minutes. Thing is, just be gentle, number 1 or 2, because you don't want to generate too much heat in the dough. So nice.
If you generated too much heat, what?
Basically, the dough heats up.
It starts to cook.
It actually starts to affect the structure of the dough. It'll actually, you can over knead bread. It goes a bit like chewing gum. Throw it in the bin. Start again.
So that's important. Get that right.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you don't have a mixer, a great way of kneading bread: simply bring your dough together, knead it by hand.
Yeah.
If you don't, a lot of people feel like the effort. Oh God, I don't want to knead. It's too much work. You can knead a loaf of bread. Knead it for 30 seconds. Rest for 10 minutes. Do that 3 times. And the bread, we had the exact same stage if you stood over and kneaded it for 6 seconds.
It's like a HIIT workout.
Yes.
Do 30 seconds on, 10 minutes off.
Exactly. So that's going to knead for about 5 to 6 minutes. It'll pull away kindly from the side of the bowl.
Yeah.
You're going to pop it in a bowl.
But remember, don't overdo it because
just
then
take your time.
Exactly.
Be patient. Bread needs time. So then once it comes together, you're going to pop it in the bowl and it needs to prove for about 2 hours.
What does that mean?
So prove basically is when the yeast gets to work. It breaks down the natural sugars within your dough, it produces carbon dioxide, and your dough begins to rise. So as dough proves, that's where all the flavour comes from.
And are there any substitutes to using yeast, or is that's the main ingredient?
No, so obviously we use fresh yeast, but dried yeast works perfectly fine.
Yeah.
You get it in every supermarket. The only difference is dried yeast is more concentrated.
Look how much that's risen in the time.
Yeah, so it
that looks like a loaf of bread in a
size.
sense.
Already.
Soda bread.
Yeah.
So at this point then we need to knock our dough back. And knocking back is exactly what we sound like. We literally knock the dough out. Because the internal temperature is higher than your external temperature, so we want to equalise the temperature.
He makes it look so easy. 2 minutes left here, Patrick.
Perfect. So again, with our little burger buns, again, if you want to do a loaf of bread, this is perfect to go straight into a tin. Beautiful loaf of bread. We're going to do some burger buns. About 90 grams is kind of a perfect size.
Okay.
Obviously, if you're not used to portioning dough, just kind of use a weighing scale. You'll get much more consistency in terms of size.
So each portion you have there, that's 1 bun?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's 1 bun.
So, a little bit of flour.
And do you have to roll it into a specific shape, or will it just take in the oven?
Well, no, it needs to be rolled round. So just a little roll round. But again, we want to dress these little guys up a little bit.
Yeah.
So all I'm going to do is take my little burger bun into a damp cloth.
Oh.
And into the oven. So it sticks like glue.
That's how they do it.
Because if you kind of roll and stick it a certain amount, it'll stick, but most majority will fall off.
So if you had like sesame seeds, you'd use
exactly
the same
thing.
technique.
Yeah, it just helps to make it stick.
Lovely.
I thought maybe you'd put some egg or something on it. No.
Yeah, well, again, these are perfect because these are vegan.
1 minute left, Patrick.
Yeah. So they're basically going to come together. You fill your tray.
Yeah.
They'll need to prove again for about another hour and a half.
Okay. A lot of that going on.
Yeah.
But the thing is, go off and do something else.
Yeah.
Let the bread do its thing. Once they all kind of come together, you're going to bake it in a hot oven. We all have a tendency to cook everything at 180.
Yeah.
Bread needs about 230.
Awesome.
And it's going to bake for about 15 minutes. When it comes
so it's like the baking time is short, but the preparation.
The thing here, the main ingredient here is time.
Time, yeah.
Time is the secret ingredient to bread. And
they look.
We've
basically come together.
I hope we can get to taste one before.
Yeah, and of course, I'm going
can
to bring
we
them
break?
over.
Can we break a bit of bread?
You can't beat it.
Let's break bread, like they said in the Bible.
And if you want to learn how to make bread baking, I'll teach you how in our break school.
Oh, this is hot.
It's still warm. It's also quite hot.
It's crunchy though. Well, full recipe details are up on our website as ever, or you can just call into Patrick in Firehouse Bakery. in Delgany, and he'll look after you.
Absolutely. Coming up from Smother to Oscar nominated on Cailín Ciúin, actor Michael Patric is here after the break. Don't go anywhere. This is gorgeous, Patrick. Thank you.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
You're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, it's been a busy couple of years for our next guest, from starring in Smother to playing the role of Da in Oscar-nominated film on Cailín Ciúin.
Now, he's somewhere in the middle of all that, found the time to write and perform a play about Republican revolutionary and political person, Sean Moylan. And we are, of course, talking about the fantastic Michael Patric. But before we have a chat with him, let's take a quick look at him in action in the Oscar-nominated on Cailín Ciúin.
I suppose the last baby's getting hardy.
Aye. It's the feeding them that's the trouble. There's no appetite like a child, and believe you me, this one here is no different.
Don't we all eat in spurts, same as we grow?
She late, but you can work her.
There'll be no need for any of that.
We'll keep the child gladly. She's more than welcome.
She laid you out of house and home. I don't suppose there'll be a word about that this time 12 months.
Oh, Michael, it's so nice seeing you in the film and seeing you in the flesh. You know, when I've seen you, well, over the last couple of months, because the Oscars, you know, the 95th Oscars, 14 nominations for us Irish. I was so proud when I saw you all there. How did that feel? You know, performing, obviously, as we've seen in the most beautifully crafted film. Did you ever think it would garner that amount of success?
No, I mean, there's no way you can foresee that. I mean, I think we, and I certainly had a sense that it was going to be something special. But, you know, the journey it went on after that took everybody by surprise. And you can, you know, if you're watching other people doing their jobs, you get a sense sometimes that, you know, this could be really nice, could be really special. But the Oscars and BAFTAs is not in your mind when you're there.
We have to ask, surely we do. I mean, you know, you were there with Colin Farrell, Barry Keoghan, obviously Carrie Crowley there, of course, in the film with you. But just the aura and the surreal nature of being in the Oscar auditorium in Los Angeles, you know, did it take your breath away, or did you kind of think, I've twigged it, they're all just normal people with great, extraordinary jobs?
Yeah, the latter. It was lovely to be there, and I enjoyed it. But you have to see it for what it is as well. I mean, it's an awful lot of glitz and glamour, but everybody in there just, you know, I was thinking about my next job, which is Sean Moylan, Irish Revolutionary. That's what I was thinking of the whole week there. And I think everybody else was probably the same. We're all focused on the next job. That's not to say it wasn't enjoyable.
Catch a look at that picture.
At there.
Oh,
I mean, it must have
exciting.
felt like a little bit at home. Like, you probably heard Irish accents everywhere.
Yeah,
Like the Oscar Wilde party. You know?
I said that to somebody recently. I don't think I heard too many American accents the entire week, because there was such a big travelling group and so many Irish nominees. The flight was full of Irish people.
That was great. The Aer Lingus put on a special flight, right?
Yes, they did, yeah. And the hotel was full of Irish people, and
I love that.
Every event we went to.
Yeah. Well, the Oscar Wilde party, I've been a few times myself, and it is brilliant because really it's a culmination of all that is Irish and Irish talent. So you were there. You actually found that more exciting than sitting in the auditorium with, you know, your Meryl Streeps and your De Niros. So tell us a little bit about the Oscar Wilde party.
Yeah, it was lovely as well. And our fabulous director and producer, Colin and Cleona, had to make speeches in front of Hollywood, and they were projected onto the side of a building. With the whole of the film industry watching it, and they made amazing speeches, and that was one of the highlights of the week, definitely.
Now, Michael, you mentioned briefly about your project on Sean Moylan, but just before we touch on that, you are a Cork man yourself, but you got your start in Canada. You spent many years practicing your trade there. Tell us, what initially brought you to Canada?
I went for 2 years and ended up staying almost 12.
12 years?
So it had a good impression on you then?
Yeah, it did. Before that, I went to the Gaiety School of Acting here in Dublin.
Yeah. Wonderful school.
Yeah,
wonderful school.
Yeah, and worked here, and then went to Canada and started doing more TV, I suppose. But yeah, I loved it, and I loved Vancouver. And
What did you like about it? Yeah. What were your favourite things about it? Because you shot up in, was it Labrador and Newfoundland?
Oh, that was Frontier. We shot in Newfoundland, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I loved Newfoundland. If any Irish people out there, if you've never been to Newfoundland, you should go. It's like a bizarro version of here.
Now, Michael, I'm bursting to ask this question. I know most people here are going to want to know as well. You worked with Jason Momoa on Frontiers. Very exciting. Jason Momoa, you know, he's a big, tall, statuesque. He's a brilliant actor. But what was it like working with him? Because he's a force of nature. You know, he loves Irish people as well. He's always talking about Ireland.
Yeah, and alcoholic beverages made in Ireland.
Yes, talks a lot about Guinness, yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's larger than life, not just physically. He's a big character as well, and he's generous to the people he works with. He's hardworking, but he doesn't take himself too seriously, and he's a lot of fun, both to work with and socially.
Michael, like, you've moved back to Ireland since, and you've been booked and busy. But let's talk about your new project. Tell us about Sean Moylan, Irish Revolutionary.
Yeah, Sean Moylan is from. Well, his hometown is Newmarket in County Cork, which is also my hometown.
Where you are, yeah.
And I looked at it a few years ago, and then Sheila O'Sullivan, a local historian, brought it back to me, and I felt like the universe was trying to tell me something. So I listened to it, and the more I started reading about it, the more I knew I had to do it. And he's a complex character, but a fascinating character. And the show is, and this is the audience feedback, it's informative and exciting, entertaining. It's funny in places. Yeah. And it's very emotive. I mean, it really gets people's patriotic emotions flowing, I think.
Now, Michael, you did say earlier that you were sitting in the auditorium of the Oscars, but talking and thinking to yourself about your next moves. I mean, is that the life of an actor? We all know it is, because you're the most freelance anyone can ever be. It's all about the next job. So does that instability worry you now that you've kind of got Oscar nomination under your belt and all that you've done with Cailín Ciúin, or is it still the same for actors?
No, it's still the same. I don't think it ever... And an older actor friend of mine said to me once, and it stuck with me, and it's so true, said, hope is the drug that actors are all hopelessly addicted to.
Yes.
And that, I don't think that will ever change.
Indeed.
Michael, being a Cork man yourself, just like Sean Moylan, working on this project, did you find any similarities between, you know, yourself and Sean, just reading his accounts of, you know, the work that he's done?
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about thinking about the next step, and there was a huge uncertainty in what they were doing at the time, in the Irish War of Independence. I mean, it must have seemed like they were fighting a hopeless cause. But they did. They were willing to risk their lives. So that uncertainty, that's a common thread, I think. I think he's also somebody who speaks his mind, and anybody who knows me will tell you that I'm not afraid to do that. But there's also, like, the premise of the play is that in later life he's attempting to write his memoirs, and he's looking back at the actions and decisions of his youth. And we all of our perceptions and our decisions and actions when we're younger change as we get older. But how does that work if you fought in a war of independence and a civil war? The Civil War in particular is horrible, and you can feel the sadness coming off the page when you're reading his words, and all of them. You know, anybody who fought in those wars, the legacy of it and how they have to deal with it in later life and the generations that follow them. That's what the play is about. Essentially, it's an examination of the lasting effects of war.
Well, you know, obviously, you know, people want to see this. It sounds so interesting, and myself included, I want to catch you. Now, you mentioned to be outside that you're actually doing a nationwide tour. You're kicking off down in Galway and then moving on to Smock Alley up here in Dublin.
Actually, the Fit Up Festival in West Cork, run by my good friend Jeff Gould. And then a week in Smock Alley Theatre in Dublin from the 8th to the 12th of August. Tickets at smockalley.com. And then... yeah, nationwide tour after that. So I hope I'm not going to forget any of them. Listowel, Charleville, Kilkenny, Galway, Cavan, long for it, and there's a bunch of others
Good
as well.
man. That's why you're an actor. You have a good memory.
Yes.
I'd never remember that.
Sounds like a show you don't want to miss. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to meet you. And congratulations, of course, on all the success with the Oscars as well. And, of course, the play. We can't wait. And, of course, if people do want to see the play, the ticket details and the list of all the venues, although Michael had a brilliant memory there, remembered them all, upcoming shows can be found on the Ireland AM Facebook page.
Now, coming up, are you talking to a human or a robot? We'll be finding out how AI is impacting online dating. Back right after this break.
Just yelling to me, camera one, and I'm here. And it basically says a big one and a red line.
There's a big one and a big
Sinead, you have me. I appreciate that.
It's very Sesame Street here. All right, thanks for staying with us. Online dating, I don't know anything about this, is extremely prevalent in the world we live in. But how do we actually know if the person on the other end of the phone is a human or a robot?
This is very odd. Advances in technology with AI means people are finding themselves being tricked into talking to a robot instead of a potential life partner. I mean, that's kind of what's worrying about it.
It is. It's intriguing because the whole AI thing has really blown up, hasn't it? But we have relationship expert Sharon Kenny from the matchmaker.ie to help us break down this issue. Good morning, Sharon.
Hi there, how are you?
Gorgeous colour on you, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And you know what? You're so cheery because you got to fill us in now on the cheeriness or the uncheeriness of online dating and AI apps. I don't really understand it all. So
it's all shocking. It's all people are going into 45% of people, as high as that, are going into anxiety because of not being able to do it right and follow their right approach to online dating. So there's so much fakeness out there that it's even driving people more into this anxiety stage instead of getting it right and going for the authentic them and the real them. That's what it's about.
Well, speaking of authentic and the real them, what attributes do you take, you know, in stock or stock of, I suppose, when you're trying to match potential people with potential people? Human beings, by the way, not AI, humans.
Yeah. Well, as a matchmaker, I'm slightly different because I meet every single person face to face.
Okay.
So I go through their profiles and make sure everything matches down to hobbies, interests, background, location. And location is a big thing, as we know. And so match everything to suit that person. And their values is number one. Values. So with the differences with online dating, and I created this course where you can go online and know how to do it yourself and make your own mistakes and realise every relationship that you go through is a lesson to get you closer to that person that you're looking for.
I almost do feel sorry for people dating now. I met my husband the old way.
So did I.
In a bar.
In a bar.
You know, and I think those days are in the past now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's very hard.
The dry ice doesn't part and you go, oh, there he is or there she is or whatever. It is all about online dating. So it's very, I think it's quite sterile, to be honest.
It is. And in the pubs, 5 girls go out at a time and they don't look around, they don't hold eye contact. People are so used to going online and say, swiping right for guys, whereas 80% of women, they swipe left. So, you know, it's to get in front of that person is number one. And they're spending too much time texting instead of getting out there in front of people.
You mentioned swiping left or right.
Yeah.
You say, which I think is true, dating apps are ruining romance because people are actually using them the wrong way. So how do you use a dating app correctly so you actually end up in a real relationship?
You have to not think about who you're looking for, but think about yourself. And it is the first stage of being selfish, but you have to do it to find that authentic other person. So you have to say what you're looking for, which starts with, I'm looking for someone who's looking for a real relationship, not a hookup, not anything else. So say it straight at the very beginning. And then you go into your values, which is like, my hobby or my hobbies.
Here are little profiles we have of myself and Lisa.
Okay.
Mine says I'm fun, I'm friendly, I'm outgoing. Sometimes I'm a little too sassy for my boots. Okay, but that just adds to the package. Swipe right on me. My interests are talking, socialising and visiting new places. Lisa says she's a nice, genuine person who likes a tipple or
now,
two.
Who the hell wrote this? Who wrote
doesn't?
this?
Oh, no, I don't know.
I'll be very honest with you, but that's just the Dublin running through my veins. Her interests are socialising, reading and meeting new people. So do you think those two, mine's got a fire emoji, I don't know why, do you think those two would be good?
No, because it starts with the picture. And the picture is kind of a close-up headshot because people don't even give you that 2 seconds. It's swipe, swipe, swipe. So
do you need your face bigger rather than everyone just can see a blue jacket? That's
exactly. That would be a second shot or a third shot.
Anyway.
But I would think this is probably the vein in me because it's our pictures. But I would think people automatically look to see if someone's attractive first. No,
yes,
as opposed to the bits underneath.
They don't read those for ages, and actually a lot of guys don't read them at all.
But the thing is,
women who read them.
That picture of me is so stilted because obviously I'm standing there like twiddling my fingers. Like that's an awful picture, and I hate that jacket. Get that off.
Okay, it's not real, Lisa. It's not real. It's not real. You're married.
I just feel like, you can definitely do better, and if you can do better, then you can tweak it, right?
Yes, and that's why I wrote the course, to show people how to do better. So say you and your yellow there, and that colour, it's vibrant and it's outgoing and it's lovely. But if you do face shot, you only have those few seconds. And then your second shot, you do a full body. Your third you show with friends.
And the fourth you do privately. So let's get on to the AI. I want to get this right. I'm going to read. There are apps out there that use Riz and Keys, and they are both powered by an AI texting coach. And they actually make your messages funnier. They can make them more romantic, almost like a little wingman for you. But you think, is this good or is this bad?
It's desperate because you're not being authentic.
Okay.
People fall in love with the vulnerable you, the genuine you, the honest you. So if you bring your real you to the table, you're more likely to find that person who's going to mirror you.
Sharon.
You want them to mirror you.
What if you say things that are a little bit negative, but being very transparent, like, I'm a bit messy or I have a bit of a floor I know they're kind of,
They're brilliant.
I think I would rather know someone's really messy, but you.
And then you go one step further and you go a question after that. So how much of a messiness would you put up with and make a joke out of it? So when you have your profile there, always have a question afterwards. That's a bit of fun.
The worst thing about the AI is if you're using Riz and Keys and they're writing your messages and making them more romantic, when you meet the person, they'll have no chat.
No banter.
Yeah, and it's all about connection and avoiding rejection, and people do those Riz and Keys because they think, I'm going to be a more attractive, interesting person. But if you're not yourself, who are you bringing to the table?
And let's end it on a high. If you're not yourself, who you bring into the table?
Exactly.
She's right. Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you very much. I get that all the time.
I can chat to Sharon all day. It's fabulous.
Brilliant. No, absolutely. I'm on 2, right? Or 1. Brian, you say.
Here we go. We're on 1. Still to come, singer Anne Nolan will be joining us for a catch-up on the sofa. Plus, we're exploring the effects of UV lights on your skin. Stay with us. We're live until 12 p.m. Fascinating.
Matchmaking.
Ethan, this mission of yours is gonna cost you dearly.
The world is changing. Truth is vanishing. War is coming.
His fate is written. Shall we write yours too?
If anything happens to them, there's no place that I won't go to kill you. That is written.
Now, Tom, for a final check on your morning papers, starting with the Irish Times. Its headline reads, Backhurst to contact Tubridy for RT talks. The paper reports that RT Director General Kevin Backhurst has said he will contact Ryan Tubridy within the next week to arrange several long conversations with the presenter about his future with the national broadcaster.
Tubridy to be cleared over €120,000 bonus as error was made by RTE. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. The paper details how Ryan Tubridy is expected to be cleared of any wrongdoing in a critical report on the understatement of the presenter's salary from 2017 to 2019.
The Examiner leads with Balkan gang linked to cocaine haul. The paper reports Gardaí believe that a major Balkan drug gang is behind the seizure of almost 163 kilograms of cocaine in Rossler Port in Wexford this week.
On to the tabloids now, and the Daily Mail leads with, I will talk to Ryan, but not to Noel Kelly. The paper reports that RTE's new Director General wants to speak to Ryan Tubridy alone about his future at the broadcaster and insisted he won't be speaking to the presenter's agent.
Foul-mouthed, that's the headline on the Mirror. The paper reporting that the Irish Women's World Cup preparations were thrown into chaos yesterday after their friendly was abandoned following a vicious attack on a star player.
And The Sun leads with back on an even playing keel. The paper detailing that new Late Late Show host Patric was unfazed when all hell broke loose at RTE, and his boss Kevin Backhurst says the comic can't wait to start.
Bear Grizzly, that's the front page of The Star. The paper goes on to say an Irishman camping in the Canadian wilderness, who is fine, told how he tried to scare off a black bear by playing the tin whistle before knocking himself out with bear spray.
As you do, yeah. Finally, the Herald leads with nae bother for Gardaí. The story details Gardaí have been interviewing 2 Bulgarian nationals over one of the biggest drug seizures this year with the help of translators.
Sorry about that. I was not very subtle, was I? I came in like a crashing bear.
Fine. Did you bring me a tin whistle?
I didn't bring you the tin whistle.
They said to me, you're in vision for this one now. Behave.
Oh, listen, you've been flying it with the text. Good on you. These are great. So obviously we've been talking about Tinder and that people are kind of using it just to boost their egos.
Bit of a boost,
Bit of a boost, kind of like, oh, he likes me or she likes me, whatever. And that's okay, I suppose. But Marie says, I'm a serial Tinder downloader and deleter. I have to block anyone I know that pops up, and it's so mortifying. So whenever I go on dates, oh no, she says she never, goes on any dates. And this week, after I deleted Tinder and re-downloaded it for the 100th time, I got a notification from the app saying, get ready to delete Tinder again.
Oh, that's not very encouraging.
Shady. That's a bit
shady. One here from Mark. This is nice. I met my girlfriend off Tinder 3 years ago, and he believes the app has changed a lot since, and not many people are now looking for a relationship, maybe just for a bit of a hookup.
Yes,
I've never been on it.
Very interesting. Anyway, you two, are you a fan of cheese on a burger?
Do you not think I am? Yeah, of course I am.
I love and partially a slice. But, like, what about 20 slices of cheese on a burger?
No, that's too much.
Is that taking it too far?
No, I do love it. It's too much protein there, isn't it? It'd make you ill.
It would make you ill. Well, get this. Burger King in Thailand has put cheese lovers to the test. They've released their latest, the real cheeseburger, and it's got 20 slices of cheese on it. I'm telling you, look at it there. Now, the fast food outlet announced that the news on Facebook, making sure customers knew that they weren't joking. This is a real thing. Now, they sell it for 109 Thai baht, which is their currency over in Thailand, which is the equivalent to $4.70, with people rushing to store to try it themselves.
No, what I meant, my mouth's actually watering, so this is
in a good way or a bad way? Oh my, well.
I think it looks good.
Well, apparently we've got a couple of Thai food bloggers that have gone over to try it out, but they're not impressed. Like, we have one called Richard Barrow, and he's quite popular, and he said, you know, the trend in Thailand is to put cheese on literally everything. And when he tried it, he struggled. He couldn't even get through half. So it's supposed to be absolutely revolting. Yeah, sickening.
How would you even get your mouth to even get in on top of all the cheese?
You'd have to go in with a knife.
I'd manage that.
I actually cut burgers when they're too big.
Yeah. I think I enjoy them more when I know I can.
But when no one's looking,
it's like,
get it in.
Oh, get it in. My first date, I had a cheeseburger, and it was quite messy. Would not
They're
recommend.
supposed to be messy. Have a napkin. Coming up, from chart-topping singer to best-selling author, oh yes, Anne Nolan will be sitting down with us to discuss her new book, New Beginnings. Don't move a muscle. See you in a bit.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
Welcome back to Ireland AM, and our next fabulous guest is best known for performing hit songs like I'm in the Mood for dancing alongside her 4 sisters.
and she smells very expensive.
Very good.
Now, Anne Nolan has written a new tell-all book, and she's here to share some of the stories with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Looking gorgeous.
Thank you, so do you.
Thank you so much. We do try. We've been up since 6 o'clock getting ready. This isn't your first book.
No.
Because in 2008, you released Anne's Song. Now, in that book, you were very, very honest, very open, very vulnerable. You detailed the sexual abuse you suffered
dad,
at the hands of your father. With this book, is this a follow-on story? And if so, are you going to be as open and honest in this? Because I'm sure that was very, very emotional writing the first book.
Yeah, the first book was very, very hard, really, parts of it. It was very cathartic, though. It was good for me, you know. And I mean, I didn't write the book thinking I wanted to get bestseller, although it was.
Congrats, well done.
I love that.
Just thought I'd put that.
Absolutely.
But I didn't write it for that reason. I wrote it for future generations so they'd know my story, and I thought my story was might be interesting to them. You know, not just the bad parts, but I thought if I'm going to write my life story, I want to write all the great bits and all the bits that weren't so great. So that's what I did. And the second book, New Beginnings, is it's just a follow-on. I started writing that 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember now because I put it down at one point and decided I couldn't be bothered anymore. I had a fallout with my sisters. We didn't speak for like 3 years. And when I took the book back up again, I thought, oh, can I write about that? And I thought, well, either I write about it or I don't write the book at all, because it was a big part of that part of my life. And I spoke to my sisters and they said, yes, you know, they'd all written their own story about the fallout and everything, about their perspective of it. So I thought, well, people need to read how I felt.
Now it's my turn.
You having your own voice. I mean, did you find the writing process therapeutic?
The second time, not really, because I was really lazy about it. I couldn't be bothered because I did it all by hand. I did it all the first book and the second book. I wrote all by myself, by hand, and then sent
the dedication to that alone is full on.
Yeah,
very time consuming.
It is. That's what I mean. That's why I put it down at some point, because I thought, oh, in your brain, you know, you're trying to remember things, and when you get older, as I am, you could have said, no, you're not really.
Sorry, no, not at all. My goodness, no.
You know, when you get older, things are harder. Everything's harder. So I just got tired doing it. And eventually my manager, Julian, said to me, why don't you start, you know, finish the book? And I thought, yeah, I should really. So, and for my grandkids and their kids, I thought it'd be nice for them to read it. And again, I wasn't bothered whether it was going to be a bestseller, whether I made money with it. I mean, it'd be great if I did make money with it, but I'm not going to lie. But it wasn't my main thing. You know, I thought I just want to write it and then it's there for my kids to read, my grandkids to read when they get older.
When it comes to the second book, and you touched on there, you know, with the argument with your sisters and their perspective, with writing this one, was there anything you weren't going to talk about? Or do you feel when you're writing a book, you have to be an open book? And do you ask your sisters for approval on this? This is what I've said. Am I okay to put it in the book?
I think if you're going to write your life story, and if you're going to write your life story and you're in show business and you're just going to write a show business life, then that's fine. If you want to write your actual life story, which encompasses show business and your personal life, then you have to write everything in it. You have to be honest. Well, in my opinion, anyway. So I wanted to be honest about the whole book. I told my sisters what was going to be in it. I didn't ask for their approval. Because I was going to do it anyway. So if they said no, I would have done it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it does teach you a lot about family relationships. I've got 2 sisters. You've got about 20.
Yeah, I'm counting.
Well, and then going through, like, reading all of this back and the accounts of any fallouts, does it make you approach family relationships a little bit differently now?
Well, it's really funny because we've always been so close. I mean, we spent 24/7 for years and years and years together, and we never had a fallout, ever. Yeah. About personal things. Maybe in show business, we used to fall out about what we were going to wear, what we were going to sing.
All the important stuff.
But in our actual personal lives, we've never actually fallen. We've had arguments like all sisters do, you know, but never actually came to a point where we didn't speak to each other. And so this was the first time this had ever happened. But afterwards, when we kind of made up, we're great friends again now, and it makes you think nothing was worth it.
Yeah.
I said to my sisters, whatever happens, whatever we do, I will never let it split us up again.
Yeah, nothing like a sister's bond.
Yeah.
When it comes to arguments like that are private and behind closed doors between you and your family. When they're made public, for whatever reason, and you're seeing them online and you're in the magazines and people having their opinions talking about it, that must make the situation worse, Anne. Surely it does.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, because they write things that sometimes are not quite true, you know, they kind of verge on the truth, but they're not absolutely the truth. So they can put a word in that changes the whole concept of something. But I don't read things.
Good for you.
I don't read about myself. I don't read the good things and I don't read the bad things. My first ever pantomime, which was about 50 years ago when I was in my 20s, and the critic said afterwards I was the worst principal boy ever to walk the stage of the Theatre Royal in Newcastle. It was my first panto. I didn't have much direction at all. I had no idea what I was doing. So he was absolutely right. But it did upset me a little bit. And I vowed then I will never, ever read another critique because it's one person's opinion.
Yeah. You start
and it
early.
can destroy you, you know, one person saying something good about you or something bad about you. But then, of course, you can't read the good things either because that can turn it the other way. Thinking you're better than you are.
Absolutely, you're dead right. I mean, there's some other amazing stories included in this book. You wrote a bit about performing at Manchester Pride. How was that?
Gosh, that was my first ever solo thing that I did on my own. My manager at the time, Billy Walker.
They would have loved you there.
Oh, it was
obsessed.
Amazing. I did I Am What I Am. I finished with I'm the Mood for Dancing. It was great. They were absolute, because I was so nervous, you know. But they were brilliant. I mean, I don't even know whether I was good or not, but they
Of course
were
you were fabulous.
They were
amazingly, you've beaten cancer twice. That's phenomenal. You talk about it in the book. Was that tough for you to revisit that, I can imagine, scary time of your life?
Yes, it was. It was really hard. I mean, the first cancer was in the turn of the century. Whenever that was, 20 years ago. And the second one was almost to the day, 20 years later.
Wow.
And it was really hard. And it was during COVID, the second one, so it was even worse for anybody who's had anything like that in COVID, because I couldn't have my family with me. The first time round, my kids could come and have dinner and support. This time it was, and the good thing, well, not the good thing, but Linda was going through cancer at the same time. So we had our chemotherapy together. They let us have it together. So, you know, everybody else in the room was on their own, but we had each other to support each other, and that was really great, but it was hard writing about it,
I can imagine, it probably brought you a lot closer, because I know everyone would love to lend a hand and help out, but sometimes it's just having someone there that gets it.
That has it. He knows exactly what you're going through and what to say and what not to say. I think it's harder for the people on the outside knowing how to treat the person who's got the cancer, you know, because it's people have different ways of dealing with cancer, or, you know, everybody's deals with it differently. Some like to talk about it, some don't like to talk about it. So you've got to know, you know, how to manage that, really.
Your sister, Bernie, passed away nearly, I think, 10 years ago this month. Yeah, it's been a quick 10 years. When you look back on your times with her, you must have a smile on your face.
There's a photo.
Yeah, Bernie was
so inspirational.
She was amazing during her cancer as well. She kept going all the time. She came to my daughter's wedding with her bald head and everything. And it was really sad at my daughter's wedding because Bernie's daughter was only 12 at the time when she died.
Young.
Erin. And I remember Bernie saying to me, I'll never see Erin get married or anything. And it was so sad. But Bernie she was amazing. Right to the very end, she kept she had an amazing sense of humour, you know. She was the life and soul of the party. And she kept that right to the very end when it got really bad the last week.
What are some of your favourite memories about her? I'm sure there are plenty.
Probably not all she can share with us.
Some I keep it
PG.
But listen, I would say that's you Nolan ladies, and I've been lucky enough to meet you all individually through different stuff work in the UK. You've got such amazing personalities with fun, but also the fight and determination.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, the thing is, people always say to you, know, when you're going through cancer, oh, you're so brave. But my sister Linda is brave now because it's gone to her brain, her cancer.
She's still fighting.
Still there. And she comes out with us to, you know, parties and the cinema.
But that's amazing.
She took us all to a show last week.
I love it. That's great.
And she's on she has to use a walking stick and we have to help her. But she still comes out and does it all, you know. She's really great. So for me, she's brave. But when I was going through it, I wasn't brave. I just did what I had to do. You only have two choices, really.
Just take it day by day.
Yeah. And it's a shame to say for people who haven't got through it, it's a shame to say that they weren't brave, because they were brave. They the cancer just got too much for them, you know.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
I could literally talk to
I've
you.
touched you all day. I know you're just full of stories, so
come back and see us again, please.
Yes. I'm on a thing tonight.
In Nace.
In Nace, yeah.
Yes, let's plug that.
Forever Young.
Forever Young Festival.
80s Festival, yeah, in Nace.
They'll adore you there.
Yes, you don't want to miss that. Well, Anne's new book, New Beginnings, is available from all good bookshops there.
Go get it now. Still to come this morning. As we all know, there's nothing better than a French manicure. We're all guilty of it, but are we exposing ourselves to health risks with every set? We'll be asking that question after the short break. See you in a bit.
Welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, we all love a fresh set of nails or to have the tan done before we jet off on our holidays, bar myself. But how dangerous is UV light on our skin and how do we protect ourselves from it?
Indeed. Well, we have Professor Nicola Ralph. She's a consultant dermatologist and UV expert, and she's here this morning to tell us more on that. Well, good morning. How are you, Nicola?
Delighted to be here.
You know, it's interesting because somebody told me recently, a very good friend of mine, about obviously the dangers of the UV lights with gel nails, and we've been talking about it earlier. I just got mine done and it's been on my mind now all the time. It's like, should I be doing this? Should I not be doing it? What are the safety measures around it?
I have mine done as well, so it's okay. It's based on a paper that came out in a world-renowned journal called Nature, and it came out a few months ago, and it was done by scientists in the University of California, and they basically took cell lines from mice and human cells, human skin cells, and they exposed them to the UV lamp that you have down there. So traditionally UV lamps were UVA, which penetrates deeper into the skin, but the LED lamps have a much lower amount of UVA. It's not perfect, but it's much, much lower. And on average, every time you put your hand in, it's there for like a minute, then you take it out and there's another layer a minute. So probably somewhere between 3 to 4 minutes on average. If you're going on a monthly basis, you'd have your hand in and out of that machine. In the study, they exposed it to, you know, controls with nothing, then 0 minutes, and then up to 20 minutes. And after about 20 minutes of exposure, it showed that about 20% of the cells died, which sounds scary, but in reality, this is an in vitro study. So they took human cells and mice cells outside of the body, so not in the normal environment when they're actually, the skin cells are on your hands or in your nails. So you can't exactly compare like with like, but what I would say is that if you're going to go and get your nails done, you should put your sunscreen on the back of your hands. I do. I get my nails done. Once every 4 to 5 weeks.
So is it the danger is involving DNA and what they tell our cells to do? So basically, if our cells are damaged, what happens? Like, what's the danger to cancer, skin cancer?
So, like, we haven't seen an increase in skin cancer on the fingers or on the nails, or increased risk of melanoma or the non-melanoma skin cancers in the clinic. But obviously, we've been using sunbeds a lot longer than we've been using getting our nails done. And you know, people got their nails done 10 years ago, but in the last number of years, everyone gets their nails done.
It's a monthly thing that every woman likes to do.
So, I mean, if you would like to get it done, what I would say is that you put your sunscreen on, you try, obviously you can do shellac versus gel. The gel does last that little bit longer. You probably get 4 to 5 weeks out of it. So instead of doing it every 2 weeks with a shellac that will chip, maybe switch to gel and do it every 4 to 5 weeks.
So the less you're exposing yourself to the UV rays.
Exactly.
But now tell me, there's UVA, UVB and UVC. Are there levels to how dangerous these UV rays are?
Yeah, so UVC doesn't really make it to the Earth's surface. It's kind of taken care of with the ozone layer. UVA is there all year round, so we do have to protect ourselves, and that's the aging rays of the sun, and that penetrates deeper into the second layer of the skin, the dermis, which is where all your blood vessels are and where your collagen and elastin. So that's what ages you, gives you wrinkles and sagging. And UVB is the burning rays of the sun, and they're really in Ireland probably May to the end of September at their strongest. But you can get skin cancer from both UVA and UVB.
Okay, well, obviously we need to talk about, well, sunbeds. I'm amazed that they still are in business. Now, obviously, I'm not going to lie, I did them back in the day, you know, even coming up to my Debs or different things like that. Now I wouldn't go near one, but a friend of mine, same age as me, was like, oh yeah, I've gone on a few just on my way, you know, on to holidays. I want to, you know, because the Irish weather is so bad. And I was like, honestly, do you really do that? And she was like, yes, I do. And I would just be, actually this question for her, is it dangerous to continue with sunbeds? Are they still as bad and they still have the same rap that they always have?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Unfortunately, yeah. So sunbeds, there is no benefit, literally no benefit to a sunbed.
Use them.
The Public Health Sunbed Act came out in 2014 and basically said that nobody under 18 should use sunbeds, that everyone should wear protective goggles if they do, and that every time you go into a salon, you should sign a form with the warnings on it, with the dangers with skin cancer and ageing. But I know for a fact, and I'm not obviously naming names, but they're in gyms. I have seen communion age kids get on them, confirmation age kids get on them, and they're not policed. And it's...
Do you remember there used to be ones in a gym where they had like cages?
Yes,
Do you remember?
it was like a rotating thing.
It was like something from Funderland. Like you'd sit in there and you'd be like, I just know this is really bad for me, but I'm doing it anyway.
They're still used. I mean, approximately the WHO have quoted up to 10% of people in Western world still use sunbeds on a regular basis. And in Ireland alone, a group of doctors just published a study in 2020 looking, was there any difference when the Act came out in 2014? Was there any difference in the uptake amongst young people and teenagers? And basically it was 7.5% used it in before the Act, and with the legislation 7.2%.
Okay.
So there's no difference.
But if we take the jargon out and make it really Sesame Street, say there's people watching today and go, well, I'm not listening to all that nonsense, I'm still going to do my sunbeds. How bad is even 1 or 2?
So 1 sunbed increases your risk of melanoma by 20%. And if you do that before 35, it's up to 60%.
Right. I'm going to have a chat with my friend because this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, no, you even mentioned like communion ages, confirmation ages. Like that is far too young to be using sunbeds. What are some of the other tanning options for people that might want to tan?
Just fake tan. Fake tans are made, like, look how many brands we have now. I mean, nothing is obviously perfect. There's always going to be a little streak here or there, but I mean, they're so much better than they were 10, 20 years ago. And they are safe. There was a lot of controversy over the DHA percentages that was in fake tans, which is what makes your skin tan. It basically binds onto the amino acids in your dead skin cells, gives you the tan, and then slowly but surely it fades over days. But they're now regulated and it's less, DHA less than 10% is completely safe. So fake tan all the way.
Okay. I like fake tan. It's not too bad. And then, of course, you know, it's day-to-day stuff. Obviously, you wash your face, you put on your moisturiser. What are the basics for all of us in skincare on a daily basis here in Ireland?
If everyone could wear a sunscreen on a daily basis, that is the most anti-aging cream on the market.
And are you talking hands as well, ears?
We're really good at doing for our face because we're all thinking about the wrinkles on our face. So we're all really good with our skincare. We forget to go down onto the neck.
Is this some of the skin?
Yeah, this is one of our favourites, Elta MD, because it's basically a physical or mineral sunscreen. So the minute you put it on, it's immediately protective, like a shield. Whereas some of the chemical sunscreens take about 20 to 30 minutes to be effective. Exactly.
Okay.
And these are beautiful for the face because I have mine on right now. Your makeup sits perfectly.
And you've got a tinted one as well, which is nice.
Tinted one. So it's great because, you know, if you don't want to wear makeup, you just have a subtle glow without looking. It blends to your skin tone, so it doesn't actually make you look orange.
That sounds good because there's nothing worse than this and that and the other product. You run out of steam.
Yeah, they have high hyaluronic acid in it as well. So if you don't want loads of layers, you have your moisturiser.
Very hydrating.
You put it on your hands.
Yeah, I put it on the backs of my hands and down onto my neck. Yeah.
Well, that is one thing I've learned today. Every time I get my nails done, I will be wearing SPF on my hands.
Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Before. Nicola, thank you so much. That's really interesting. And my friend is going to get a wrap from me for sure. Sunbeds, major no-no. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Nicola. Now stay with us after the break. We're learning how to play Pétanque. What could possibly go wrong?
Oh no, I hate the game.
Pétanque. See you in 3.
No.
And we're outside in the glorious sunshine. Thank you for staying with us this morning. Of course, you are watching Ireland AM. And it's our final segment. Yay!
It's freezing!
It is, Lisa, it is.
It's freezing. No, as you know, I can't even read the order cue, so much rain. We love a challenge on the show. Well, I don't know that I do. But anyway, we're learning how to play Pétanque. And we're even going head-to-head in a few minutes.
Yes, but first to explain more about Ireland's rising sport, we're joined by Billy Liddell from Irish Pétanque Association. Good morning.
Morning.
No.
So, Billy, exactly what on earth is this and what are we playing?
Pétanque is a game which is played on a gravel terrain. It's played outdoors. But this is the closest we've got to it. So if you played on the car park, it'd just keep on rolling.
So you're used to playing in the rain, I'm sure.
God, yes, Ireland. Yeah. So you have a cushionet or a jack. Now we've set the jack. It's the red thing.
The red one. I see that at the end.
And you stand in a hoop.
In a hoop. Okay, we can do that.
Pétanque translated is feet planted. So you stand in a hoop with your feet planted, and you throw the. Now, if you throw underhand like that, which you can do. The only thing that's going to stop it is gravity.
Yeah.
Okay. So we impart a bit of spin into it, we can we can start to control the ball.
Okay.
So I'm going to try and get nearest to the jack, and that's called a point. Now, if I get too near to it, and you can't point closer, then you would try and shoot me out of the way. So knock the ball off the piece.
Tell us, where and how did this game originate? I've never heard about it before.
Well, the forms of this game have been played since 6 BC.
Oh, wow.
From the ancient Greeks to the Romans, and then the Romans taught it to France, and then it was banned in France, and only the nobility could play bills. So the ordinary person couldn't play it.
So they wanted it a bit exclusive.
You had to be classy.
Yes.
So after the French Revolution, Vive la France, it was brought back to the people.
All right.
Billy. I'm here. You over here.
She's behind you.
How many? Like, what's the age group? Because I'm thinking to myself, this looks like anyone could play this.
Yeah, the age group literally is between 4 and 94.
Oh,
and
great,
above.
right. So anybody can do it. And it's easy to learn.
Yeah. Even if you've got mobility problems, you can stand with 1 foot out of the hoop.
Okay.
You can play in a wheelchair with 1 wheel in the hoop.
Fantastic.
It's open to everyone. And we, in the Irish Pétanque Association, we have clubs from Cork, Limerick, Tipperary, 4 clubs in Dublin, Athlone, 2 clubs in Cavan.
So it's popular here in Ireland.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 new clubs started, one in Magravili, in Fermanagh, and 1 in Mayo.
Is it competitive at all?
Oh, good question,
my
Patric.
God.
She's trying to size myself and Lisa up.
Is there kind of a team vibe going on here, I feel?
Vibe to it, or is it a competitive game?
Well, you can play it as a club tournament competitive game, or leisure, or for leisure. So you've probably been on holiday and seen people on the beach throwing balls, plastic balls, which we brought the plastic ones in case it was lashing.
They'd be safer.
Yeah, but the tournament balls, which I've got here, is played on a gravel surface. And
how long does a game last, like in the teams?
Yeah, it's 1st to 13. So as many ends as you want to take, 1st to 13 wins it.
And for anyone watching this morning who'd like to find out more, is there anywhere they can go on your website, anything?
Great question, Brian.
No.
The IPA website, the Irish Pétanque Association website, has got a list of all the clubs. Click on the club, find the nearest club to you, and you're all welcome to come and join and start playing this fabulous game.
Right, speaking of playing, in my ear, they said, let's get into the demo.
Let's go. Shall I pick up one, Billy?
No, I'll hand it to you.
Are you going to show us how it's done?
I'm going to go first, so don't expect too much. And I need to get as close to that cushionet.
The red ball.
The red ball. Can anyone see this?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Go.
Ah, sure, Billy, would you look at that? The red ball didn't stand a chance.
Now, what happens when you go beyond the red ball? Do you lose points or...?
No, it's closest to it.
Okay.
So you've got to go now.
You go.
Go. And
I'll grab your ball
pick
here.
up one as well, will I?
Yeah. That's a good one.
Thanks. Oh, that's the winning one.
Oh, Lisa, you're up.
I've got a winning one.
Lock in the hoop.
We need to go again. Because you're holding, you don't have to go until we get closer to your ball.
Past you.
Oh,
so, Lisa, you go.
All right, you go.
You got to get past her.
Yes!
Unlucky.
Oh, yeah, a bit too far.
Go again.
She's going again. No, Johnny, work away.
I'm just doing what Billy's telling me to do.
Okay, give it a go.
Right there.
I'm in.
Yeah, that's closest.
I'm going to hold this over you because I love you.
Okay, here we go.
Underhand.
This way.
Underhand.
Oh, right, yeah.
Try and spin it.
Got it.
Well, Brian, I know you're going to get this.
Look at that technique.
That just went left field.
Good sound.
I'll go one more time. I've got
Do.
plenty of practice. Here we go.
Go.
Oh, my God.
Okay. That one's gone back to County Kildare.
One more. Look at you.
Do it for Kevin.
Yeah.
Try.
Oh! You hit it!
Did I win?
No.
Oh, well, who won?
I can still get
We need to know the winner. Who won?
Well, Lisa's still closest.
Oh, Lisa, you're still closest.
Am I meant to be... Do you mean closest to the... I'm a bit confused.
Let's have to go now.
Okay.
Right, so it's 3 balls each.
We've about 40 seconds
Lisa,
left.
You've got 2.
You two head to head.
Remember, I was a powerlifter.
I'm delighted I'm not in this because it's raining. You were a powerlifter, Lisa.
I was.
Hey! Lisa, go for him.
Okay.
I think Lisa's going to win.
Hang on.
No,
Billy, just hold this for a second.
we're holding that, so this is just the amount of points we're going to win by, because we're winning.
Right.
So just...
You're winning.
Aim for my ball.
Will I do this? Can I?
Yeah, do that, yeah.
Oh,
I like it.
That was miserable.
Just a bit more.
Check your next one,
Okay, here we go.
Try that one, try that one.
All right, you got
Listen,
this.
Billy, every
got
single
this.
ones are winning ones. All right, anyway.
There we go.
Okay,
yeah,
the hell you have to go. We could do this all day.
Thank you.
Well, coming up on Sunday's Ireland AM, we'll be discussing the upcoming sale of Taylor Swift tickets and asking why is there so much hysteria?
And she's one of the longest-serving presenters on ITV's Loose Women. Kay Adams will be joining us for a chat. Can't wait for that.
Plus, we've got Barbie looks on the catwalk and we are making ice cream in the kitchen.
Ireland AM is live tomorrow from 9.
And before we go, we have to say a very happy birthday to Anne Coyle from her children, Barbara, Morris and Patrick, and all of her grandchildren.
Yay!
Your family say they love you loads and hope you have
Happy
a lovely
birthday!
day.
Happy birthday!
See you tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Let's get back in this game.